Welcome to the Gaming Outsider Podcast. This week, Zack, Jacob, and I are discussing games that we've ruined for ourselves because we played them entirely too much. In news, we finally have a release date for Ghost of Yotei. As for new games discussed, Zack and I finally got to play Clair, Obscur Expedition 33. Jacob tried the remaster of Oblivion, and Zack got beta access to Marathon. Also, Sean and Mark stopped by to tell us about the full release of Kiborg Arena, Spellcaster University, and Once Upon a Puppet. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to the Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com, facebook.com/groups/the GoCast, and even a Discord server. There's a link for that in the show notes of this very episode. It is Tuesday, April 29th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends, Mr. Zack Parkerson.
Hey, Scott. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. And Jacob Gunderson. How you doing, man?
Hello.
Hello, hello. It has been a week.
Sure. You're telling me.
I'm stealing something from Amanda with that, probably. I should not have done that from the
It's been a week. Hello.
It has been a week, but let's go ahead and jump right into some of the games that we've been catching up on. Zack, I'm going to start with you, sir.
Yeah, sure. I continue to do more side stuff in God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah.
That's been fun. There's a lot of stuff to do after the game too.
I thought that was a roguelike.
Like after the credit. I'm saying after the credits of the main game, there's a lot of like end game.
Oh, gotcha. Cleaning up everything.
Yeah. Well, and then there is the DLC Valhalla, yes, which I enjoy so much. I have every single trophy in.
Wow.
It's very good as far as roguelikes go. I mean, there's not very many run-based randomizers with a budget of that size, so I'm sure that has something to do with it. But it's just polished and fun, and it uses the structure to its narrative benefit in very good ways. And
gotcha.
If you are a fan of Kratos or God of War, highly recommended.
It's a free update too, right? You just head to the base game.
Mind-bogglingly, because there's an extraordinary amount of new dialogue.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy. Like, we obviously costs a lot to record that kind of stuff. So
right, from a company that charges $10 to make a game look better when no one else does. It's just surprising.
That's crazy. What else you been playing, man? I'm excited to hear about this.
I mean, I don't know what to say. I finally jumped into Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes. And I got, before you tell the listeners your impressions, because obviously we were there, we know what you thought of it. But I got to apologize. We had planned to stream this live on Twitch and actually on Twitch. And I am completely ignorant when it comes to OBS and streaming. And I had it all set up, thought it was good to go. And the game just would not show up on the screen. So we did not stream it. So, which might have been good for the first time because there was a lot of, all right, Scott's got to create his character and Scott's got to download 60 gigs of updates that didn't really.
Right. Yeah. Scott doesn't prepare is a thing I learned.
Well, I should have. You're right. I absolutely should have gone and tried to do an update the night before. I didn't think about it, and I didn't assume that it was going to be a 60 gig download that was going to take half an hour to do. But
they added a bunch of new subclasses and stuff.
Yeah. So tell everybody, what's your early impressions of Baldur's Gate 3? Are you digging it?
Well, I'm playing as a drow rogue. I don't know if that so people can paint the picture themselves. I didn't realize. I don't know anything about D&D, so I didn't know drows were looked down upon.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's really racist towards me.
Yeah.
And you guys saw. I'm ready to pick a fight with anybody that's racist.
Yeah, just keep in mind you're not going to roll a nat 20 every time you want to punch somebody in the face.
I don't know. So far, so good.
Yeah, 1 for 1. That's
yeah. I mean, I feel like we've definitely barely begun. I like the combat. I think it's really good. It's interesting to play a game like this cooperatively.
Yes,
because the other party members' turns are your guys' characters.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued to see, because I feel like you're getting such a different experience than you would as a single player with the party members. Because anytime I get a party member, they're just like, "See you at camp," and then they're gone. And yeah, and that's interesting.
It's really interesting because I spent a lot of time with many of those characters, and we're not gonna. They're just gonna be like hanging out in camp.
Right? Yeah. So, did you have 2 other people you were playing with?
Yes. So we always had Arlek in our party, which I controlled as the lead player. So I controlled my character and Karlach, which was kind of fun because I got to be a bit of a bruiser while I was going through it, but also play my own character. And now we're all just playing our own character, which is kind of fun and interesting. It's weird to think that if I were to ever play this game on my own, it's going to feel awkward. Oh, I'm going to control all 4 characters now?
See, and to me, I was like, maybe I should be playing 2 campaigns or something, so I can actually see what these characters are about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can always still play it on your own too, because it is. I've heard it's great to play on your own because you don't have to worry about patiently waiting for someone else to take the turn. You just take the other turn.
Right. Well, I can't do that obviously with this character. This is a guy. Yeah.
No, I mean that's what I meant. Like on a subsequent playthrough, like if you did that. So.
If you ever finish it.
So you got to tell at least one story of something cool that happened, like I did when I was playing Baldur's.
Yeah. I don't know. It's rolling is fun. I want to say that. Them showing you the dice roll instead of it happening in the background, like most games, for some reason, does make a big mental change to where it feels more involved. And I think the greatest trick Baldur's Gate 3 does, it just says F it and has a narrator.
Yeah.
I think that was a brilliant decision because then it just you get a little dungeon master energy. Let's see, what did we do? I followed some kids into a hidden encampment, and then they threatened me, so I did not listen to these children. so then they ran off and told the guards that I was threatening to kill them or whatever, and I somehow convinced them. I've never met any kids here, so that was kind of fun.
You rolled very well this game.
I did roll very well. It felt good. Or there was a goblin lady. I don't know. Potential spoilers. Fast forward 2 minutes. A goblin lady who I don't really know much about the situation, but it seems like she would be able to help me sneak into her camp. So I busted her out of prison, and then every single person along the way of this encampment was like, "Hey, what are you doing with her?" And every single time I rolled well enough to be like, "Dude, don't worry about it. It's fine."
It was very nerve-wracking. We didn't reload. We didn't have to reload.
It's the best plan ever. Like we would like broke her out mid-afternoon and then walked through the center of town right past all the guards, and everyone was just, huh?
Yeah, everyone was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Hey, man, have you ever thought about chilling out?" That's a good idea. You're right.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
My favorite part is how Jacob just decides to run up ahead and trigger things, and then it's got to be.
That was really great of him.
So
that was not my fault.
No, it happened to me once too. I was like, I've like made myself just follow Zack, because like in our last game, I was kind of leading the party and everybody was following me. So I'm like, I'm doing whatever Zack does. I'm going to follow him and let him make the decisions, which is kind of nice.
Well, we walked through that gate, and it like puts a shroud over everything else that's coming forward. And so I was just like clicking ahead. I didn't realize he had taken a hard right and gone up a staircase or a ladder or whatever. So I just ran right into the cutscene.
It turns out.
Yeah.
Well, which is funny because on my screen, your cutscene started for your conversation, and then they pulled me into mine. So it was like,
yeah. Well, and then you punched the non-racist, so we had to reload.
Because I remember Zack being like, "Yeah, that wouldn't have been the decision I would have made."
Right.
And so we reloaded.
Yeah, because I didn't know how important it would be.
By the way, Paul from the chat wants to know what your subclass is.
I choose it at level 3. I was told by Kevin. So
we're only at level 2.
Yes,
we're still waiting for Kevin to level us up.
That's his favorite thing to do, right? Level you up slowly, make you earn it.
Right.
Yeah, it was hilarious. But I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm really looking forward to the ride with you, Zack. Obviously, and Jake too. I haven't played with Jake as well before this session. So I've been playing D&D with him, for years. Stuck at level 6 for years.
Right.
But I'm looking forward to it, and stay tuned for more stories. Jake, what about you?
Well, apparently my character in D&D just died. So there's that. Well, I think we've both been there goes yours. So goodbye. We're now re-rolling classes in our actual game. But Scott, me and you both have been playing Blueprints. We have been
bought this on my recommendation, right?
Nuts. Yes.
Oh, I guess we should say for the audio listeners, Scott and Jake's Dungeon Master just in our live stream chat just killed their characters.
Yes,
while they were talking. So
I guess I'm going to have to reroll another character.
I guess D&D's over for you.
Yeah, I'm not going Thursday. Thanks, Kevin.
But, anyway, blueprints.
Yeah. Yeah, to get back on topic. Yeah, we have been playing blueprints like fiends.
Obsessively.
I cannot stop thinking about this game. Like shower thoughts have gone to like blueprints thoughts. Like
yeah.
I'll just be standing there. Like I was cooking today and I almost burned some of my food because I was just thinking of blueprints. I was thinking of like all of the stuff that needs to be happening and all of the little the layers and layers of riddles and puzzles that are in this game.
I called Jacob for something completely unrelated the other day, and no joke, 30 to 45 minutes later, we hung up because Jake had to go make dinner, and we had talked about blueprints, just comparing notes. And like, did you find this room? Did you figure this out? It is insane how much this game has gripped me, and the fact that both of us have resigned to refusing to Google anything but rely on each other for stuff has made this game even more fun for me. Like we are kind of doing this alongside. Like Jake was actually at my house last night, and I pulled up my game because there was something that he was going to help me out with, and I accidentally spoiled something for him that he didn't know you could do in the game, just because I stumbled across a room and you're not supposed to see that, and because we don't want to like just straight out give each other the answers. We just kind of give each other hints, to keep it fun.
I will have you know that I went back in that room with the tool that you said to use, and it did not work.
Really?
Yes.
I wonder if you have the right tool. But anyway, Zach, this game goes way deeper than I expected it to. On the surface, this game looks like a puzzle game that's got some unique puzzles and clever ideas, but there is an underlying story in Blueprints that is a lot darker and deeper than I ever anticipated this story to be. You were picking up the clues of this story, with notes and letters and things like that, which doesn't sound like anything new, but the way that they reveal it to you, it's not in your face. It's not like, I don't know, pieces of lore that you come across in games, and you're just hearing it by experience. You're getting things in weird orders depending on how you complete the game. And you're kind of piecing things together and building your own narrative, and then having things either confirmed or denied based on other things that you find. And it's just so good, man. I can't wait to see where this goes.
The character that you get the house from is a very prevalent character in the area. And he's got all of these like public things that he does. So there's like the public eye that you see him from, and then there is the private eye that you get all the letters and stuff in the house from. Just certain rooms have these little lore tidbits about him and the family, and you just kind of are going, oh man, so he's actually doing this while this is going on. That's crazy. And it's so good because like it paints a picture of one side, and then you find in a new room, whatever, and then it's like, nope, your whole idea, your whole thought process of what all was going on is completely changed.
Yes. And there are like this past week, we just started to figure out what the title Blueprints means. Like it's starting to piece it together, and it's not straightforward. Jake actually figured it out before I did, and kind of opened my eyes to, I'm like, oh my God, that is, it's pretty intriguing what Blueprints actually means.
There's so much symbolism in this game. There was the elevator with the fires.
Yes.
Okay. At the end of that, past everything, there is a small book, and if you read the book and read in between the lines, there are a bunch of they show you all of the symbols in the house and what they mean.
Yes, I actually took a screenshot of every page of that book because I felt like I was going to.
Book is so painful because then you start walking through the house going, why?
Yeah. and that's what's really cool about the game is you'll notice things when you walk into rooms. You're like, man, that's got to mean something. That's got to be relevant in some way. And then you discover a clue later on, and it breaks your brain, and now you have to go through. And that's the key thing about this game that keeps the restart mechanic from being tedious, because as long as you discover some new clue or make some progress, it feels satisfying, because starting over allows you to kind of restart a new path that you want to do to discover something else. I never have. I think, Jake, you're doing kind of runs where you're focusing on just one specific thing you want to do, and I'm playing it where I'm in the moment, just doing whatever is laid out in front of me, which is interesting that we're kind of doing those two different paths. But when you figure out what you're supposed to do with these things that you've been seeing walking through these rooms over and over again, it's an aha moment. And then when you put together those pieces as to what you actually do with that, it's an aha moment. And then when you actually solve what that is, it's an aha moment. And then it winds up revealing something that just gets you. I can't explain how giddy with excitement I get when I solve something that feels super complex, but it makes sense in the moment. And you're rewarded with this, like, here you go. And your mind is kind of blown with what happens. And then it just makes you, this game. That, I feel like that's the phrase that you and I have said over and over and over to each other this week is, dude, this game.
This game.
And the last thing I'll say, we had this conversation before we started recording tonight, is that this game also requires you to have a lot of background knowledge. I'm not going to say what it is, but Jake discovered a puzzle that actually requires knowledge about a product that exists in real life.
Yeah, real world knowledge for in-game puzzles.
Right. Or
it's kind of weird.
You have to do math. You have to do you have to like look at something and figure out what it is that you're looking at, and like there's a certain level of background information or skill or brain thinking that you need in order to be successful in this game too. But it never feels obtuse. I don't think it ever feels obtuse.
The puzzles I'm working on right now are definitely out there, but I keep thinking to myself, like, the gamer in me is coming out more and more, and it goes, well, if you just go to another room, maybe you'll find a clue to it. And it's like, you don't get clues to the puzzles. You don't get, help with these puzzles at all. They put them in front of you, and then you have to use your brain and your intellect, your own thoughts, to solve these puzzles.
Right. It kind of gives you the freedom to do it. Like we just said, you're doing it one way, I'm doing it another way. And it's never a wasted attempt as long as you learn something.
Yeah. And failing these puzzles doesn't mean anything either. One of the puzzles stays locked forever after you fail it, but that run ends and a new run begins, and you have another attempt at the puzzle.
Mm-hmm. And then once you solve a puzzle, it's solved on subsequent runs. So there's two different puzzles that are, they've got the little gearbox on. I can't remember what those are called.
Those are the utility rooms.
Utility rooms. There are utility rooms, and if you solve that, it does things to the rest of the mansion. And once you solve it, that stays for your next run, so you don't have to solve that again. Mm-hmm. So it feels nice to be able to come back and manipulate it in a different way to work. It's just so good. Zach, I know you do want to play this game. We mentioned this past week that there's a colorblind mode coming, which isn't available now. So it's actually probably a good thing you didn't try to tackle this one right away.
The Gray Prince.
Please, at some point this year, give this game a shot, because I want to talk about things with you like I've been talking with Jake and with
by then it'll be old news to you.
Dude, there's no way that this stuff isn't going to stick with me, and I will happily feed you clues without spoiling anything. Like, I will kind of point you in the right direction, like Jake and I are doing.
Okay.
Jake is really good about, hey, maybe you should think about it this way, and then it kind of
I was trying to help him with a puzzle, and my only clue that I gave him was maybe try not looking down.
Yeah, that was all he said, and that changed my perspective, and I still can't solve that freaking puzzle because I need a certain room to spawn, and that room hasn't spawned yet. But again, I've got so much other stuff to do. I'm fine. So I don't want to belabor the point. Blueprints is amazing. It's unfortunate that came out at this time when there's so much stuff going on, because there's other things I want to be playing, and then I'll just do one quick run on Blueprints, and then it's 9 o'clock at night, and I got to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Why am I playing this one? I could be playing Blueprints.
Yeah, well, the problem is that the other one is really good, so it's like there's so much good right now. It makes things a little bit difficult, but all right. Well, that's the games we've been catching up on. You'll hear some new ones here shortly in just a bit, but we're going to go ahead now and run into this week's news. Could that have been any more awkward? We got a lot of news to talk about this week. First, from the Gaming Outsider website, Blades of Fire's new combat-focused trailer. Black One Blood Brothers got an early access update. A game called Panic, puzzle game on PC. Looks interesting. Trident's Tale, Once Upon a Puppet, which we talked about last week. Tomb Water, which looks like a game made for Zack. Was a game called Haneda Girl, Rune Factory, Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar, Etheria Restart, Prohibeast, and of course some news about Clair Obscur getting a live action movie in the works. If you're interested in hearing about any of that, please check out thegamingoutsider.com. Mark and the news team have been working fervently on keeping that going. We've also got a couple new trailers to talk about. Ghost of Yotei was announced. Interesting to announce it this week when Oblivion was I guess that's the worst kept secret, but interesting week to drop that. Release date of October 2nd, coming to PS5. FBC Firebreak coming to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC June 17th as well. As for the rest of the news, it looks like not all Switch games will have the low $9.99 price tag to upgrade to Switch 2 version. EA puts stockholders over people and lays off 300 employees this week. Feel like we can't go a week without something like that. PlayStation's removing their own games from the PlayStation Store and PS Plus. And we've also got some video game adaptation news in the form of Outrun and Split Fiction. Lots to talk about this week. Zach, let's start with you.
Sure. Well, I mean, Tomb Water does, they describe it as a 2D Zelda cross with Bloodborne, but with cowboys. So yeah, I'm in.
It looks like Enter the Gungeon.
I don't know anything about that. But it looks good.
It looks really good. Like I'm not even into Souls or Bloodborne, but obviously like Zelda, and I like me some Western games. Running around, I'm probably going to talk about this next week too, but running around reminds me of the Lone Ranger game on the NES a little bit. So
you carry a torch for Lone Ranger.
I love that game.
It's cool. It's a cool
great game. But man, that game was ahead of its time.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It was a good week for trailers. Ghost of Yotei. I thought that trailer's awesome. I like how the plot is the same exact plot as Assassin's Creed Shadows. So we'll get 2 of those.
I was gonna say I kind of hope that there's a little more meat to that story besides revenge.
Oh, I don't. It's all I want.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to because Assassin's Creed Shadows, a very good game, but it kind of loses its own steam, and I trust Ghost of Yotei to tell a very similar story better.
Right.
So I'm excited. And the music
condensed.
Is awesome, dude. In these trailers.
Yes.
Ooh, I'm all over it. Stoked. Good trailers.
All right. Any
Oh yeah, if we want to talk about some meaty news. I'm recently laid off and hungover. So let's talk about EA screwing people's livelihoods. And laying off
and hungover.
Yeah, that's right. The old 1-2 punch. Right. I feel like laying off comes with a hangover. I think it just maybe is a combination. But yeah, so EA laying a bunch of people off here at the beginning of the fiscal year. Good for them. Not wait until the end. Bunch of heroes. But Respawn seems to be the studio most affected as they've lost 100 jobs. Which is no good. Obviously, the Star Wars Jedi team lost some members, and Apex Legends is losing its quality assurance department, which seems important.
I thought they did that years ago.
I was going to say, after talking to Nate, our former producer, he was showing me some clips of that game. Seems like they maybe should have hung on to them.
Right. Yeah. Well, I feel like I remember them talking about it before, but I don't know. This is part of the write-up. And then a Titanfall game was canceled.
At first I was bummed about that because I would love to have a Titanfall 3, but then turns out it's an extraction shooter, and not that I'm happy that anybody lost their jobs. To be clear,
Uh-huh.
I'm not quite as upset because it wasn't Titanfall 3.
Yeah, I mean, I would have played the hell out of a Titanfall extraction shooter with the, they're running on walls and all those mechanics would be a lot of fun.
Mhm.
In a genre where you usually have to go slow and safe.
Yeah.
That'd become a fun combo. However, yeah, it's not Titanfall 3, so it doesn't hurt as much. But it was nice to see that somebody's thinking about Titanfall over there.
Yeah, I kind of thought that was just a foregone conclusion at this point. But
Titanfall 2 is so good.
Just enough to cancel it.
I have been toying with going back and replaying that campaign because that campaign was great, and I haven't played it since launch.
And it would only take you an evening or two.
Yeah, it's not super long.
Yeah.
Remember the construction level where they're like piecing together these prefab houses?
Yeah, of course. Great level.
So good.
Or Cause and Effect, another great one.
Yes. And so unfortunately, sad news this week, but let's move on to something else. Jake, what would you like to talk about?
More sad news. All the Switch games aren't going to be the low $99 anymore. So it looks like they're moving some of their nicer ones to the low one, and then bumping up some of the other ones.
Oh boy!
Appears the upgrades for the more recent games will be significantly higher. The US prices aren't live yet, but the upgrades in the UK games like Kirby and the Forgotten Land and Super Mario Party Jamboree will be more than double that.
So what we're talking about here is like if you already own the game on Switch 1, want to play it on Switch 2, you pay an upgrade. And in the past, they were like $10 to do that, or some are going to be $10, but others are not. And again, we don't have the US pricing; we just have the pounds and euros conversion. But going from £16.99, 60. Oh boy, well compared. Oh, it used to be £7.99, and it's going up to £16.99. And then the €9.99 euros are going up to €19.99 euros. That is a significant jump.
Yeah. Well, I think both of those, would use the excuse that they're also adding extra content.
Okay.
I mean, if they are,
they are. Yeah, they were both announced that they were coming with extra content.
Good.
I still think it's a lot to ask.
I mean, it depends on which game. I mean, they're not going to carry over every game. And it depends on which games they're going to try to carry over, if they're wanted or not, and all that kind of stuff. So
does this mean like your cart of that game just won't work on the Switch 2, or you just won't get the Switch 2 version of it? Like, up-res graphics and all these bonus features that we're talking about. Like, will your old cart still work in there?
Yeah, I think it would probably work just like, if you put a PS4 copy of Ghost of Tsushima in, you can pay $10 to get the PS5 version if you want, or otherwise you just play the PS4 version on your PS5.
It's almost like an expansion at that point. If they're giving more, if you're paying for extra missions or whatever it is, more content, then yeah.
Makes it a little bit easier to swallow, but I don't know. It's not going to be an issue for me because I'm not going to be.
It's still just consistently weird to me that third-party publishers give all this stuff away for free, but Sony and Nintendo want to nickel and dime people. It's just bizarre.
Nintendo is no longer the kid-friendly company that they used to be.
Yeah, they lost that some time ago.
Yeah. But it's still hard to. The idea that Nintendo is becoming evil is just, it's hard to swallow.
Did you hear the other news with the Switch 2 this week about the the physical copies? We had a little bit of information on this before, where the cart isn't going to be the full game. It's going to have a small portion of it on the cart, and then it's going to have a code on it that you have to do to download the rest of the game.
So it's not a code, but yeah. You just put the cartridge in and it downloads it.
Okay, I heard conflicting reports, and I thought someone said there was an actual like specialized code on the cartridge itself, like on the label
that you had to enter.
Right.
No, because the whole point of them is that you can buy them and trade them.
Right. So, well, that's what I'm saying is I guess the code wouldn't work. You could use, if that were the case, which apparently it's not, you could use the code with just another cartridge, which doesn't make sense. So anyway, the interesting thing is, like you said, you can still sell these, or you can still trade them with your friends. But in order for you to be able to play that game, you still have to be on a online connection.
I don't know if you need a continuous internet connection. I wouldn't think so.
No, not to play it. It's not. It just acts as DRM. or
Yeah.
like
Right. So yeah, you put in the cartridge, it downloads it, and then it'll just check for the cartridge every time in order to play it. Right.
right. But the
Yeah.
point is if you don't have internet, you won't be able to
Start the game.
which is kind of crazy. Paul Hine in the chat mentioned that the card is the key. Yeah,
Right.
it's like the DRM key,
I-
basically.
That sounds like it'll be the tagline for The Wizard 2. The card is the key.
I would hope if the key is supposed to be the cartridge and you put it in there and it checks to see if the cartridge is there, you shouldn't need an online connection. This is not
Right. You just need it for the initial download. Yeah.
Hopefully.
right. But yeah,
I mean, it's a portable console. Anything else would be dumb.
Right.
yeah,
It would render the console borderline inusable, especially
yeah.
considering that almost every third-party game at launch in Japan is one of these game key cards.
Right.
It would be useless to own a Switch 2 at that point.
So just to be clear, you use the card as the key to download the game. Once it is downloaded on your console, you just need the cartridge to be able to continue playing it.
Right.
So like the weird instances where you're hanging out with a buddy at the cabin with no internet access and you say, "Hey, here's my copy of this game." He's not going to be able to install it on his Switch because there's no internet connection. But if he had it pre-installed, he would be able to.
Yeah, although you could just hand him your Switch 2. But I take your point.
Well, that too. Yeah, I guess you wouldn't be able to play multiplayer without each of you having your own copy, right?
I'm not hanging out with anybody in a cabin without internet.
Paul Hine in the chat makes another good point. He says this does make the 256 gigabyte seem very small now.
Yeah,
that's a really good point.
If you look at the install size of a lot of these launch games, it really does make that internal storage look tiny.
Yeah,
I haven't
had
had
about that at first.
Well, it is quite bigger, but then like you got Cyberpunk 2077 is almost 60 gigs.
Yeah,
that's most of your hard drive.
Yeah.
Although, you know what, dude? I've talked a lot of crap about CD Projekt Red, the way they did Cyberpunk. Shout out to them for ponying up the dough to put the whole game on a cartridge.
Yeah,
it's
like the only one I've heard.
Yeah,
it's the only third-party game that I've heard that is doing that, which is crazy.
Yeah.
All right,
sucks.
You guys want to talk about Sydney Sweeney a little bit?
No, I don't care.
I just find it interesting that she's attaching herself to video game adaptations in two different capacities, no less. We've got
she's well known for her two different capacities.
Well done. Anyway, so we got two video game adaptations announced this week. Outrun. Michael Bay is going to direct it. Sydney Sweeney is going to produce it. To be clear, she's not necessarily starring in this movie. Bay is also producing alongside Brad Fuller and Toru Nakahara. No plot details yet. What plot details are there going to be in an Outrun game?
Drive fast to impress a hot chick. Done.
I mean, that's all that game was, right?
Right. Which is why it's perfect for Michael Bay. No story, and there's a bunch of hot chicks.
You know what's crazy weird in terms of coincidence is that I actually just bought Outrun like last week before they announced this. It was on sale on Switch for $2, and I'm like, you know what? I've never played Outrun outside of the arcade, and I just always hear really great things about it. I haven't played it yet, but bought it for $2, and here we are. I don't know if that's related at all. If they're like, you know what, this is going to be announced, we got to get this game out there for cheap. But
maybe.
The other one is Split Fiction, which we obviously loved here at the Gaming Outsider. This one's going to be directed by John M. Chu. He's known for Wicked, In the Heights, Crazy Rich Asians, and G.I. Joe Retaliation. This one actually will star Sydney Sweeney, who is also executive producing it. It's written by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, who wrote Deadpool and Wolverine. No word yet on whether Sweeney will play Mio or Zoe in that. Wasn't one of them blonde? I feel like
you played it.
Yeah, I mean, just saying, like it.
You played it. I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at their hair.
I think Zoe was the blonde, so that would kind of. I mean, if that's the only thing we're going off of, but
what color were their eyes?
I don't know. I think Split Fiction would make a fun movie adaptation. I mean, you're not going to get the gameplay elements of it, but the story is interesting enough that would make for a fun animated movie. Maybe. I don't know if it's animated, but
I would doubt it.
Doubt it.
Be more fun if it were real life. But
It's
what do
gonna
you
look
guys
like
think?
the Tron movie.
Yeah.
I don't think nothing. Don't care.
About either of them?
No, why would I?
How bad could the adaptations be? Come on.
Well, I mean, now Outrun is perfect for an adaptation because nobody's going to care about the source material getting sullied.
Yeah, but why pay for the licensing for that game when like you'd literally call that movie anything? Are people gonna is that name Outrun gonna put people in the theater to see that?
No, but you have to think about how stupid the CEOs of movie companies are because they're like, Michael Bay's like, I want to make this cool car movie, and they're like, I don't know, man, it's kind of risky. He's like, they're like, but we do have this IP that we already own, that we have like Outrun, and then
so it's the Kool-Aid movie.
Yeah, it's just dumb. It's like the Battleship. They weren't going to make a Navy war movie, but you get the Battleship license. All right, let's knock it out.
I watched that movie in the theater just because it was called Battleship, and I was like, I got to see what they do. And there was like one thing that even remotely tied that to Battleship. There was one time where they bombed something and said, where do we shoot it? Over to A4 or whatever. Like, and it was like one throwaway line, and that was it.
So I guess this is why the CEOs think that this is necessary, right? No one was going to go see the Navy war movie, but then you named it Battleship. You get enough people who are like, what are they doing? I got to go check that out.
I mean,
I guess that's Outrun.
Could we just have the entire movie like from behind the car? Like just like an entire car chase scene where that's all it is?
They should pull a Fury Road and just make the whole movie a chase scene.
That would be kind of cool, man. Like we don't even know anything about the characters. There's no dialogue for Michael Bay to ruin.
Let's just start in motion.
I don't know. I just think it'd be kind of a interesting. I feel like if you put Michael Bay attached to something, you're not going to be experimental. You know what I mean? That's like an indie movie kind of thing. But
yeah, no, you're going to Michael Bay for a formula.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe Michael Bay loves Outrun. I don't know.
Maybe. It's just I don't know. I feel like there's not enough in that name to. I mean, I say that, and I already said I'm gonna go see it. Haven't seen a trailer. Haven't seen anything.
See the guy.
Yeah. Over in the chat, Sean Coates says they could go the Gone in 60 Seconds route. Was that Michael Bay?
No.
Jerry Bruckheimer, right?
Well, he's just a producer.
Okay.
I do not know who directed Gone in 60 Seconds.
I don't remember either, but that movie was fun.
Sure.
It was dumb, but it was fun. All right, well, that's it for the week's news. Before we get to the games we've been catching up on, let's remind everybody about Patreon. If you'd like to help support the Gaming Outsider and what we do over here, you can head over to patreon.com/thegocast. We're doing just a single tier, asking for $3. That will give you ad-free versions of the episode, as well as access to any of our bonus content that we do. And right now, you've got 3 pieces of content available for you on Patreon. We are doing a spoiler cast, or I'm doing a spoiler cast with my buddies over at the Hollywood Outsider on HBO's The Last of Us. So season 2, episode 1, 2, and 3 are all available right now for you. And again, anything that we do in the future, you'll have access to as well. And speaking of ad-free episodes, before we get to the new games we've been playing, we're going to take a quick break for this message. All right, Zach, it looks like things are not slowing down yet this time of year. What's new coming out that people can check out?
No, build your own wizarding school in Spellcaster University, coming to all consoles April 25th. Best Served Cold is coming to PC May 5th. Captain Blood, a canceled 360 pirate game, is making its way to all consoles and PC May 6th. Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, another Xbox title making its way to PS5 on May 6th. King Arthur Legion 9 is a spin-off of the King Arthur Tactics game from a couple years ago. That's coming to PS5 and Xbox Series consoles May 6th. Midnight Walk is that creepy looking game where you play as a candle clay creature.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to PS5 and PC May 8th. Revenge of the Savage Planet, a sequel to Journey to the Savage Planet, comes to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC May 8th. Spirit of the North 2 takes I think the first game was 2D, right? And this one's 3D. Is that the big thing? Anyway, either way, coming to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC May 8th. Sonic Rumble is a Sonic multiplayer game coming to PC, iOS, and Android May 8th. Imperial action game coming to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC May 8th. And then Wings of the Endless makes way to all consoles and PC May 8th. May 8th is a big day, I guess.
Yeah.
Scott, what is anything on this list calling out to you?
A couple of them, actually.
Okay.
I think Midnight Walk looks fun. I'm not a big fan of the stop motion animation thing, but it didn't bother me in South of Midnight. And I don't know, the characters in that remind me of the mayor from Nightmare Before Christmas with the turny head thing.
Yeah.
That's the vibes it gives me, and I just feel like we haven't had a shooter in that kind of game, in that style with that kind of art style. So I think that looks interesting. However, I'm gonna break the rule and give a second one. Wings of the Endless.
For shame.
That game looks great.
Yeah. It looks interesting.
It looks just like a nice little feel good 2D platformer style game that I'm sorely missing. So
yeah, I mean it looks like something Scott Clark would enjoy for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah. What about you, Jake?
I was looking at Wings of the Endless. It looks good. I'm so glad that Scott took it. Oh, Scott went away. I guess I'm going to go. I was going to talk to Scott and be like, hey, guess, but he went away. There he is. Hey, Scott.
You don't have to, if his camera cuts out, dude, you don't have to address it. You just keep going.
I just wanted to address it. It's so funny. Everyone's gone. Sonic Rumble. We're going to have to get the Go Crew together and sit down and play some Sonic games.
Isn't that a mobile game?
It is, yeah. Well, mobile and Steam. Most mobile games.
It's PC.
Perfect. Comes to Steam now.
Perfect.
So
Me and Kevin have
there.
Steam. That's all that matters. You have a deck. Get with it.
You also have a phone, Scott.
Right. It's not going to be fun on the phone, though.
Sure, it's fun.
What about you, Zach? What's sticking out to you?
As for me, the sheer curiosity of Captain Blood is going to pull me to that game.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I need to know because they canceled it when it was like 90% done back in the day, and then this studio comes in, finishes it up, and ports it over to modern hardware. That's just an intriguing story, and it really makes me want to check out Captain Blood.
And that trailer had some hilarity to it as well.
It looks so. It looks very 360.
Yeah,
and
that's
awesome.
a good thing in our book.
Yes, 100%.
It's going to be 360 all the way up until like the final mission, and then it's going to go over to like Unreal Engine 5, and
all of a sudden a skill tree will pop up.
Awesome. It'll get a battle pass.
I'm basically expecting an 8 to 10 hour linear action adventure. Like a nice 7.5 out of 10. The kind of game where like you would talk to your friends like, do you remember Captain Blood? Oh yeah, I think I played that. That's what I'm expecting.
Yeah,
and that's what I want.
I totally agree, man. And I'm down if that's what it is.
Yeah.
All right. So you speaking of games that we all want to play, you two have been playing Clair Obscur Expedition 33. How's that going for you guys?
Oh boy. Zach, you go ahead first, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, it feels like it's the talk of the gaming town right now. It's sold over 1 million copies since release, which is good by any kind of JRPG metric.
And that's not counting people playing on Game Pass. Like that's purchase copies. Just nuts.
Yeah. I don't know what I don't know how much Expedition 33 appeals to the Game Pass crowd or not. But it certainly seems like there's a substantial amount of people playing it. There's like 120,000 concurrents on Steam. Like it's a hit. And good for them. But yeah, I mean, what it is, we've been looking forward to this for a while. And what it is a turn-based RPG, very much inspired by, I would say, Final Fantasy X, particularly. And its structure, very go forward, get into some JRPG combat. Progress through this linear area, get to the cutscene, become sad, proceed.
Become sad.
Well, you say linear area, and it is a linear path, but there are also like offshoots, and the maps kind of loop back around to the center, after you find upgrades and or items and whatnot. But yeah, I kind of like that it's not overwhelming in its world.
No, for sure. Yeah, it's very focused.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess the story setup if people aren't aware, is there's a kind of a god figure called the Paintress, and once a year she wakes up and paints a number on the side of this monolith, and then everybody that age and older dies. Right?
Hmm.
I can't figure out if it's everybody that's older than that age or if it's everybody that age. Because what happens if you turn 33 during the year?
Dude, that has been driving me crazy. That and like the math doesn't make sense to me because like if I'm 32 this year,
Mm-hmm.
and then so next year it's going to turn 32, but by the time it rolls around I'm going to be 33. So does it skip a year of
That's
people
why
every year?
that's why I've decided, because the game doesn't super specify, at
Yeah.
least not yet, as in my head it's just everybody older than that number dies.
Okay.
So that way it catches everybody eventually. Because you're right, because there's way to math around it, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it's that's the way I'm looking at it. Either way, because then you always know like when your last 12 months are, basically.
Mhm.
You can always anticipate when you're gonna die is when she
Right.
wakes up and paints that number, and you get turned into inky nothingness, I guess.
Where you get Thanos snapped.
Yeah.
So I
And-
want to know how you feel about this storytelling because they definitely drop you into this world without any real explanation outside of just experiencing it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it's almost like they expect you to know a lot of things, or there's a lot of vocabulary that is not familiar to you. You just have to kind of extrapolate it, use your context clues to understand what those words mean. It's not like in your face.
Yeah.
We talked about that like in Way of Kings. Like that's how that book is
Right.
written, and I feel like it's that kind of same style here. Do you like it here?
Yeah, no, of course, because you get up to speed pretty quick,
Mhm.
but it does have like made up words, like you've gotten, it's her gamage today.
Mhm.
Like, what the hell is that? And then and then you shortly learn. But of course, these characters live in this world, this depressing world. There would be no one to exposit towards.
Right.
So
I think there's one key part of the story that I find fascinating too is that this is if I'm understanding it correctly, this society of people are on an island that was broken off from the mainland,
yeah,
almost like they're exiled. So there's like the mystery of why were they exiled, however many
well,
years ago.
yeah, it sounds like there was a great fracturing whenever the paintress woke up. The world fractured.
Hmm.
And yeah, and then these guys just living in the city of Lumiere.
And it's just such a great story setup. And especially like this is one of the things we didn't talk about in the news when we were talking about movie adaptations. I mean, we mentioned it, but this is already being greenlit for a movie. And that could be amazing because you've got so many other expeditions. You don't even have to have the same characters.
Yeah, as long as they don't stick to Expedition 33, I
Right.
think it would be good because this game's pretty long, so
Right.
it would be tough to shorten it down to a movie.
With that said, the characters in this are so interesting. I love that they're not just going the typical JRPG route and we got our fighter, we have our magic caster, we have our healer, you know what I mean? Every character feels so uniquely different to one another with their weapons and their abilities they have and their look. Just the fact that Lune, when you control her and you go through the environment, she doesn't even walk. She just kind of like glides along with like it just looks cool and it feels awesome.
Right? Yeah, every character, they got their own run animations, like
Mhm.
even small details. But then during combat, which is turn-based, each of those characters have their own mechanics as well. So it never feels like you're going through the motions because you kind of got to keep everybody's different play style in mind when you're controlling them.
Yes.
Like one character has to stack a bunch of like cards onto enemies, and then you can kind of pay those off for big damage.
Mhm.
But you need to think about which skills you use to try to get as many cards as you can quickly. Whereas like a character like Mael, she's every skill like changes her stance, and each stance does a different effect during combat. So you want to try to flow your way into the stance you want, essentially.
And some of those things are based on the status of the enemy. So like this one will turn we'll put this stance on Mael if she attacks and the enemy is on fire. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
little tiny pieces that you have to like combo up to get to the different routes that you want. And it's fascinating. It's almost overwhelming how complex some of these systems are.
Yeah,
You
well,
know?
I would say anytime I got a new character, I was a little overwhelmed
Mm-hmm.
But then you play the tutorial and you do a few battles with them, and it's second nature,
Right.
essentially.
And then the crux of the gameplay itself as well. It is turn based, but it very much focuses on timed hits, timed I guess timed QTEs when you're attacking, timed dodges and timed parries, which is way more prevalent than I was expecting it to be. Because I'm so used to go ahead.
I thought it was gonna be like the Mario RPGs where it's
Yes.
kind of an optional way to reduce some damage or kind of give you that leg up of that little extra attack boost or whatever. But I would say, I mean, dodging is essential in this game.
You have to, especially early on. There was a boss I fought that I had to dodge for. I mean, it was like a good 10-minute battle, because I wasn't leveled up properly.
Right.
And that's what I love about this is like you will come across even just random enemies feel important. Like when you play a JRPG, just come across somebody and you just keep hitting attack until they're dead, gain some XP and go on. This one feels like each battle matters. You can't just like skate your way through it. But at the same time, they don't overwhelm you with so many of those encounters in this game. They just feel like the perfect amount to get you where you need to go.
Yeah, I think so. It's a good balance. It's a situation where I'm looking forward to every fight, which is not always the case with the RPG, right? Because usually you kind of get tired of running into random encounters or a battlefield that's clogged with enemies. But here I'm initiating every combat I can because each one is engaging.
Well,
and it helps
because
you learn those patterns to get your dodges down.
Yes.
And then and the dodging is kind of smart because it either says dodge or perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And the perfect dodge is the same timing to do a parry. So once you get those perfect dodges down, then you can gamble a little harsher and try to go for the parries, because the parries do substantial damage if you can pull it off.
Plus they get you more AP points back, which are vital for getting some of those higher level spells and stuff like that. Which
I think I put the Dodger Picto on every character, or that gets you AP every time you dodge an attack.
Wait, you can put one Picto on multiple characters?
What? Oh boy, we'll talk about Pictos in a second, but when you get a Picto when it turns into a Lumina, you can put the Lumina on anybody.
Oh, see, and that's actually going to be part of some of my issues with this game, which we'll get to in a second. But keep talking about the combat.
Yeah, but it's funny because when you play it, it's like calling it turn-based is kind of a stretch.
Yeah,
because you're doing so much when it's not your turn, and the enemies will have long combos you need to dodge every step of, and they'll do like a Bloodborne thing where they like go in for an attack and then they actually fainted. They're actually holding their sword for a second to mess up your timing. Like Elden Ring, and you're like, this is it's a little hardcore considering what you would expect going in.
Right.
So I'm just saying it's a very, if you're afraid of turn-based, it's quite active. If you're looking forward to the chill feeling you get from playing a turn-based game, it's not here.
It's not going to happen. Yeah.
So it's
I
definitely.
was gonna ask how the parrying system works with timing in a turn-based game. Because like in a straight turn-based game, they're attacking, you get attacked. That's it. Like
so the way it works here is an enemy will attack you and they go through a very specific animation. And every enemy has its own unique variation of that attack. So basically they swing back, they rear back, and then they start to come forward. You're looking for that window of opportunity to press either the dodge button or the parry button. If you get that timing right, which isn't a visual cue, like it's a visual cue based on the enemy's attack, but not on like a meter. You're not getting a QTE thing popping up on the screen, so you don't know exactly when it is. You learn it by trial, basically.
Well, Zack explained it a little bit by saying there's a lot of stuff that you're doing while it's still the enemy's turn. So you're stuck in one place, but you're still like actually like, I have a turn, you have a turn, but then you have a capability of dodging or blocking or parrying.
Just dodging or parrying. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not like you can't run around the battlefield or anything. You're still fixed. But the enemy might attack one player or it might attack all three players. Thankfully, it's just still one button press for all three characters to do the dodge or parry. But dude, like Zack,
when you get a parry though with your whole team and it like says on screen Expedition 33 counters or whatever, it feels good, man. It feels real good.
I have not had that happen because I am so afraid to rely on the parries. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
because if you miss the parry, the window is tighter than it is on a dodge. And
Mhm.
if you miss it, you're going to take the damage. And damage is significant. Like there are some enemies that, three swipes will take you out kind of thing.
Right. And the trick with parries is if they attack in a combo, like they do 3 attacks per turn or whatever, you have to parry all 3 of them to earn the parry.
Correct. And then later on in the game, they add another element of it where an enemy might attack you super low or might do a ground attack. So instead of dodging, you now have to jump with the A button. So you have to time a jump, but you also have the opportunity to do a counter with the right trigger after you do that. So then you'll have they introduce that, and then all of a sudden enemies are attacking twice and then finishing with a ground attack. So you have to
Mhm.
dodge, jump, and then attack with the right trigger. So it almost becomes this dance.
And I don't want to say too much, but there are more things to come
Yes,
that you need to pay attention to on the enemy's turn.
it's just crazy how I can't even imagine how in depth it's going to be. But the nice thing about this is even early on, I felt so overwhelmed with the combat because I just, it was new to me. I couldn't get it. And I would come across enemies that were so difficult. And I'm like, how in the world am I going to do it? It usually only takes one failure for you to be
Mhm.
able to get those timings down. And then the second or third time, you're usually clearing a boss. The random enemies leading up to you kind of give you some practice, but then you have unique timing windows for the boss that will take 1 or 2 tries to do, but it feels super overwhelming at first. There's been multiple times where I'm like, screw this, I'm going to bed. And then, the next day I fail once, and then by the second time I've got it down, and then I can oftentimes get through a boss battle without taking a single hit. So, you literally can dodge every single attack in any encounter. It is possible. You're probably not going to do it on your first try, but it's very much a learn by failure type of game
For sure.
that never feels super punishing.
Mhm.
And it's just so interesting how unique some of these are. I recently, I'm not as far as you, Zach, but you'll probably remember a turtle enemy
Yeah, of
that you
course. Yeah.
fought.
Mhm.
And the way that enemy attacks you, they only have one attack. And
Right.
it
But it's the
wipes
most
out.
powerful. It's the most powerful ice attack in the world.
That's literally what it's called. But it is a one hit kill on your character. So
Yeah.
like
It
you
warned you.
really
It told you it was the most powerful ice attack in the world.
so you have to go through
That was a
that battle
great name.
basically dodging it every time. Thankfully, it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier dodge and parry window, but you have to get it. Otherwise, you're going to be reviving characters and you have limited amounts of doing that. So
Yeah, dude. I
um,
mean, that part of the game is very good.
it,
Every
it
every part is so far. What am I talking about?
I was going to say I haven't really hit a down.
Yeah.
That's the other thing I want to talk about. The storytelling
Mhm.
is none of the storytelling feels wasted. I don't feel like you're ever wasting any time with story beats. Like in so many times in JRPGs, you have this main quest, but then you go off and you do this goofy stuff in order to get to your main quest.
Yeah.
This never feels wasted. Like you're doing things
No.
that genuinely matter.
They even poke one quick joke at it, which I which I liked. Which right before you fight that turtle, actually,
I don't remember it specifically, but
where the characters make a joke about how, oh yeah, let me guess, I got to go up and do this favor for you on top of this high mountain
oh yeah,
peak, and then
yeah.
bring you back something, and he's like, no, you just got to go talk to that turtle. Yeah.
That was pretty good. And then just like the interactions that you have with these characters. Again, I keep referencing old school JRPGs, which I do love, but I feel like the interactions feel so much more genuine and not like teen drama associated with it, or
Mhm.
they just
Yes,
feel
it's
real.
nice that these characters are adults,
Yeah.
which you don't usually get in a JRPG.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's the way the direction is phenomenal. So like you'll see characters like go to speak and then like get anxious and not actually say something, or it'll take them a few chances before they actually speak, or two characters might be fighting. So one person's like trying to sternly get through what they have to say, and the other person keeps trying to interrupt, and they're like, but the first character just keeps talking over them anyway. And it's just there's so many moments like that where it just feels like people talking, rather than actors reading a script.
Right. Oh, and there are moments of levity like the one you just mentioned, and
Uh-huh.
then there are just like moments that feel crushing. Again, I don't want to spoil
Dude, I
anything,
mean,
but there are some dark things that you come across in terms of that you see in dreams, and the
sure.
characters' reactions to those. First off, the stuff going on in those dreams is like, I gotta see what's going on, dude. I am just so intrigued on what is happening in this story.
Uh-huh.
But then the characters' reactions to them are very um visceral. They're very real. It's just so good.
Yeah, it's incredible, and I like all the characters so far. I think Gustav is a great protagonist.
Hmm.
He's cool. He gets extra cool points though because he has a sword in one hand and a pistol in the other.
Hmm.
And that's just cool.
And a metal arm.
And a middle arm, but I'm more impressed by the gun, just straight bringing a gat to a fight against a god.
That is another interesting mechanic in the combat we didn't mention is you do have the ability to shoot at your enemies as well. They cost an AP point for each one that you do, but I assume you're doing the same strategy. If you get an enemy that's shielded, I just kind of whittle down some of those shields to not waste a main attack.
Yeah, that's
You know what I
helpful. Or I use Gustav's little combo skill he's got, where it's like 5 hits in one turn.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a
But
good point too.
yeah, or you can aim at some enemies will like put out little familiars around them, and if you could shoot all the familiars, it'll do a bunch of damage to them. Like there's a lot to consider in every fight.
Or there's even weak points that might weaken an enemy if you shoot that first. They introduce that pretty early on. There's just a lot of moving parts for a game developed by a freshman team. It's
Right.
just insane to me.
Team of 30.
Yeah. Last thing I will mention about this before we move on, I could talk about this game for quite a while. I do have some issues. I think the game sorely
Well,
needs.
before you get issues, can I explain, or can I talk about Pictos real quick?
Oh yeah. Go
And
ahead.
then we can get into some negative stuff. Just
Mhm.
just because I am not a fan of skill trees,
Mhm.
famously. But so the way they do skills in Expedition 33 is you equip these things called Pictos, and each of them have different benefits. Like it might be plus 1 AP at the start of a fight, or start a fight with shell cast on yourself, or one of them does like every attack attacks twice instead of once.
Mhm.
They're all very helpful, but you have to equip them to a character, and then after 4 battles for each of them, they become kind of unlocked in the Lumina system, where you can use set amount of points to equip them to each character, and it'll have different values. Like casting shell on yourself might cost 10 points, and so you can kind of build your character the way you want. It's very reminiscent of the Final Fantasy IX AP point equipment. If anybody played Final Fantasy IX, and it's just it's a fun way to build your characters, because you don't get to choose a lot of things,
Mhm.
because it costs so many points, and it's just I don't know. I'm not usually into build crafting in RPGs, but it's a lot of fun here.
Reminds me of the badge system from that Super Mario Thousand Year Door.
Oh yeah, a little bit, sure.
Yeah, like where you got a certain amount that you could, but I didn't know you could do that in here. So I
Yeah,
have been missing out on a lot of that. I did not know that was a thing,
there's a lot of bonuses you're not getting.
apparently, which might
Now you
explain
do.
Yeah, so
my
only
some of my issues.
well, because yeah, and maybe part of the problem, like you're talking about, is maybe they explain some things poorly, because I thought you had to unlock it for each character before they could equip it as a Lumina. So like I was putting it on other characters for 4 battles, and then equipping it as a Lumina. I was like, but then I noticed that the bar is full no matter who you equip it on. And I was like, oh, I clearly misread that, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah.
There's a lot of I don't like the menus. I'm not gonna lie. I think the menus are a bit cumbersome. They thankfully don't use the cursor thing that we all hate,
Yeah.
but I just feel like things aren't organized the way I would organize them. I don't know. It just feels a little awkward.
Interesting. How so?
I
You
don't
pause the game and quit the game is the first option.
No, like to equip your weapons.
Mhm.
There's just something like in order to equip a weapon, you go to the weapons and it gives you all of the weapons for all of your characters. And so if I've picked up a new weapon, I want to go look at it. I have to go remember what the name of that weapon is.
But if you click on just the character, you can just go into the weapons right there, and then it only has their weapons.
Okay. I mean, I just didn't pick up on that. So
Oh,
I was
okay.
so I was so tuned in on the weapon name, trying to remember it. So I find that weapon, and then it pulls up all the available weapons for that character. And then and then like the ways to upgrade it, which they say, hey, you can upgrade your weapons at camp, and then you go to camp and I can't upgrade my weapons at camp, and that's a story thing I have to get to later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like we're gonna tease you and let you upgrade, but not yet.
My problem with the menus is I never know when something's really highlighted or not.
Yeah,
Especially when you're equipping Pictos and Luminas. That's been frustrating.
Or which ones are equipped and which ones aren't. If you're talking about like your your Pictos, like you don't know which one is. It took me a minute to realize which ones were selected on other characters already. All right, I want to know which character has it, and the picture is so small.
It's tiny, dude. It's so small. Yeah, uselessly small.
Yeah,
just
give me the letter of the character. Like, just give me an M, give me a G. What's that spell? Right. The other issue I've got is I think the game needs a mini map. I know that some people will argue with me that helps with the immersion and keeps the screen clean because of the way the game looks. But I get turned around, especially after coming out of a battle. Like, I don't remember. Okay, which way was it going?
You know what I mean? I disagree that it needs a mini map, but I do agree that it needs a map, like a map in the menu.
That's fine. I would be fine with a map in the menu, especially when you're trying to loop around. And
because they have one for the overworld, the world map.
Yeah,
has a map.
Which thank goodness, man, because sometimes I'd be like, how would I know which direction to go?
Right, yeah. But yeah, I wish the individual levels had one for sure, because it's hard to know whether or not you're going the right way.
And you know what the look of the game reminds me of too? This is totally changing the subject a little bit. Oh my goodness, 1886.
Oh, the Order?
The Order 1886.
Yeah.
Like, the art style feels like a fantastical version of that. You know what I mean? Like, where you've got fantasy stuff going on. It's got that veneer over it, and I just really like it. I think some of the facial expressions, like the mouths, look a little weird.
Well, I think the lip syncing is pretty poor.
Lip syncing is poor, and the teeth just look off.
Yeah.
To me,
I haven't noticed the teeth. I guess I just don't check out people's teeth.
I mean, I'm looking at their lips when they're talking, so like that. And if it's
see, I will say I'm trying not to look at their lips when they're talking because the lip syncing is so bad. So I try to look at their eyes and stuff.
That's just rude. You're supposed to look at their eyes.
Like, yeah, exactly. Come on, Scott.
Right,
be a gentleman. You know what it reminds me of is Nier.
I think I texted you and told you that when we were playing it, didn't we?
Yeah, it was funny. There was a guy at my former job who started playing Expedition 33 and also brought up Nier. I think it's just, it has kind of destroyed architecture. It has the whole story is dripping in melancholy, which is very Nier. And the destroyed architecture and those like the music, right, with the lyrics there, I can't really understand very well. I think theirs is in French, but yeah, it's just it's a good tone.
Coupling that with the controls, which feel very Nier-esque as well, a bit to me.
Oh yeah,
like I just feel like the character moves at the same speed as that character from that game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Well, it's the same sprint button, I guess. So
that is throwing me off, by the way, because I've been playing this because in Blueprints, which we just talked about, the sprint is the left trigger. So guess what I keep doing when I play?
That's so weird.
So in Blueprints, the right trigger pulls up your map, like your overhead map of the mansion. So I keep like trying to sprint in Blueprints and pulling up my map inadvertently. So that's
you know what I definitely don't like in Expedition 33 is there are some jumping puzzles to get items, or later there's just places called gestural beaches where you can just kind of hang out and do mini games. But sometimes they have like little jumping puzzles, but the jumping is so awful in this game.
Yeah.
That it is just deeply frustrating. It is not fun. It is annoying, but because Pictos can be anywhere and they're so valuable, right? It's always to your benefit to explore these areas.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's just no fun.
And that's something that I keep thinking while I'm playing this game, is that usually when we have a brand new developer like this that has a game that is this popular, I always end up feeling like this is good, but I'm just going to wait to see what this makes me want to see what their second game is going to be. I don't feel that way with this one. But I still feel like if we get another Clair Obscur style game, that they can polish up some of these things, but they're not game breaking for me. They are not taking away from my enjoyment of this game in any way. So it's like a different feeling. Like I'm looking forward to some improvements, but it's not. I'm just like this is okay, and I can't wait to see their sophomore, presentation.
Yeah.
This is great.
Well, I mean, I don't know how they nailed the storytelling on their first time at bat like this. I mean, it's a powerful story, very bold plot twists. Like it feels like as you get more information, it's almost like there's new mysteries with it, but not in a way that seems frustrating, like maybe Lost would to people that weren't paying attention.
Right.
And it's just, yeah, dude. I mean, I just keep wanting to play more and more. It's very, very good.
Yeah, it's very difficult for me to parse my time between these two, but let's move on because I feel like I could keep going. We spent so much time on that. Jake, you have been playing a little bit of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remaster when you can tear yourself away from blueprints. I have not played the original, so is this going to be the best place for me to start?
Yeah, it's good. There's not it seems like the bones of the game they kept. From what I've been reading, all the missions are usually the same. All the voice lines are the same. They brought over they redid the character animations. They added a couple of different things to the game to make it more user friendly. And other than that, it is the same game.
Okay.
Combat.
I heard they even kept in a flubbed line of dialogue from the original. I didn't know this was a thing, but apparently one character delivers a line of dialogue at some point, and you actually hear him say something to the effect of, "Oh, that was bad. Let me try that again," and then delivers the line a second time. And that was just like one that they missed in the original game, and they kept it in here because it's
and they actually animated the character looking down as though she's reading a script in the remaster. So it's pretty cool.
I have not gotten to that point yet, but that sounds like great. I'm gonna have to go hunt that down and find it. But yeah, the combat in this they've completely changed. I know they were talking about it, but I wanted to know how they were gonna change it, and so tinkering around with it, it became very obvious how they did it. In the old Oblivion, you have your right and your left hand. Your right hand is for your sword, your left hand is for your shield and your spells, which is bad in combat. If you want a shield, you can't have spells out, or vice versa. So
isn't that in Skyrim as well? I feel like that's
no. In Skyrim, you're dual wielding. You have both your hands available for either thing.
Oh, okay.
And so you can have a shield and still have a spell, or you can have a sword and your spell. So it works.
Okay.
Or two swords or two spells, either way. But it works. They changed it in Skyrim, which it was a huge selling point when Skyrim was coming out. It was big news that you could dual wield because Oblivion was so structured when it came to sword and shield or sword and spell. So now they've changed it to where your spells are in your right hand, your shield is in your left hand, and then so attack is like R2 and your spells are R1. And then your quick swap menu would be the left bumper, and then your shield would be the left trigger. And so you can effectively be blocking, get hit. Oh, I've taken too much damage. Use the quick menu, change from your sword to your change the spell, still have your sword out and heal yourself and go right back into combat rather than having to okay, I'm going to put my shield away. I'm going to take the spell out. I'm going to heal myself. I'm going to put the spell away. I'm going to take the shield back out. Yeah. It takes a lot of, it takes a lot of the frustration that was in the game out of the game, and it's nice.
Now I know you're a massive Elder Scrolls fan and you've played so many hours in Oblivion. You're kind of dipping your toes in because obviously it's a massive game. Do you see yourself going through this whole game again and getting as deep into it as you did before?
I want to. I'm gonna have to. I didn't realize that there was gonna be. I knew they were gonna have some of the added content. I didn't know they were gonna have the expansion in the game, and so I've seen some stuff about the expansion. So that's one of my favorite expansions. Is the Shivering Isles of Oblivion? No. That's downloadable content. Get that out of my face. Although I did pay for that. I'm part of the reason why we have the systems we have today. I'm sorry. It was not my fault completely. Anyway,
it was exactly partially your fault.
Yeah, it was. I completely own that. But no, the Shivering Isles is probably one of my favorite expansions in any game. It just there's there's two places, there's two parts of like this area. It's called I forget what they're called, Mania and something else. I can't remember, but they're so distinct. They're so exquisitely done between the two of them. The dialogue is nuts. And the main character in that realm, Sheo Gorath, is just amazingly funny. I love his lines. Everything is nuts.
Gamer Knight 45 from the chat says that the horse armor is included this time.
I know it needed to be. My horse will probably be wearing armor eventually, but I do not have enough money for a horse right now. They did add a sprint button, so getting from place to place is nice. Getting to places are easier. But I find myself, because I've played so much of the original so many years ago, I find myself going, well, what do I want to go do first? And I'm having a hard time picking and choosing the things that I want to go. Because usually I have, back when I had more time and I would make notes and all this stuff. I had a list of things that I wanted to get done in a certain order to have certain things for my character to start actually going to do the game. And I don't want to play like that this time, but I still want to go do a few things because I know I can do a few things to just make my game easier on my life.
Mhm.
And so there's a few things that I'm going to go do, but I know that I have to go do a couple other things to prepare myself for those few things. And I almost feel like I've already done it. I've already experienced, but I know this is going to be a whole new experience for me, but I still feel like it's just going to be a redoing of that old game. And so I find it hard to bring myself to actually go do the stuff that's in the game. Although I've already done one of the most annoying quests and gone fine and went and fished and got scales and stuff for this one guy.
So
But-
if I jump into this game, what class of character should I start with?
Depends on what you want to do.
I want to be stealthy.
Okay, so build your character to be stealthy. They ask you all these questions at the beginning of the game that you want to be not exactly like D&D levels of like you want to be a ranger, do you want to be a rogue, do you want to be this, do you want to be that. They definitely have those classes in the game, but you can even go further and go, well, I want to be a little bit of magic. Okay, so I'm going to customize a character and rename it and allow myself to do some magic along with being stealthy. And
Okay.
it's just there's a lot of freedom in the beginning of the game to make your character the exact way you want to, and it's nice. And even one of the nicest things they do, even before you leave the area to actually start the actual game, it stops you and goes, are you sure that you're okay with everything that you've chosen up until this point? You've played a little bit of the game with the settings that you've chosen. Are you sure you want to continue? And then at that point, they let you go back and you can change your race, your face, your class, your skills, anything right then and there, right before you go into the game. So if you're like, oh, well, I don't want to focus on magic anymore, the magic in this game kind of sucks, you can change your complete class and go sword and shield.
You sound like right before you get out of the sewer.
Yep.
Okay.
Which I have done exactly the same thing that I have always done in all of these games. Right before I leave, I make a save that just shows the sewer, and then I go and make a whole new save with my character.
Ah.
So if I play the game again, I just load that save and then I change everything that I want to play. That way I don't have to go through that whole nonsense in the sewers in the beginning, because that is annoying.
Don't like fighting rats.
No, it's not fun to me. A week.
And you're playing that on PC, correct?
Oh yeah. Yep. Playing it on
And it's
PC.
also available on PlayStation, Xbox, and Game Pass if you got Game Pass. So $49.99 if you want to purchase that one. All right, Zach, you got your hands on the beta for Marathon. Is that correct?
Alpha, closed alpha.
Alpha. Okay, so talk to me about this game. I'm not a big extraction shooter guy, but people are really excited about this. What was your first impression of that?
Yeah, played Marathon, of course. Got it. Yeah, got in, like I said. Well, the gunplay, let's just start at the top, is great. It always is, right, in a Bungie game, even Destiny. Otherwise, it's not really, if you played an extraction shooter, a Marathon does not have any new ideas. It is pretty bog standard in that way. The general setup is you're playing like a little robot person, like you're playing as a person, like I think your AI is in like these shells, your consciousness in these shells, and then you go and you do contracts for major corporations to pay off debt. And so the general idea is you're going into these areas, you're getting as much loot as you can, and then you're extracting before you get killed. Otherwise, you lose everything. So the and then the thing you're doing that kind of connects mission to mission, like Hunt Showdown, like I was talking about before. You go in, you hunt the monsters, you get the bounty token, you get out. There's like a whole rhythm to it. In Marathon, so far the only real rhythm is that you get jobs from those corporations, and it'll be things like hack 3 terminals or something. And then when you do that, you get even more money. So it seems like it's
If
just
you
all about,
survive.
no, not these ones. These are just you just get them. They're just like
okay.
jobs you're doing. The surviving stuff is all the loot you're finding during the mission. Perhaps better weapons. There's not a lot of weapons. I assume that's the product of it being an alpha. To extract with. I won a few matches. Played for a few hours. But on the whole, I think Marathon is kind of boring. The AI firefights are somewhat interesting, just because it's Bungie AI code. So they're actually like using the environment and they're flanking you. Like it's pretty good enemy AI. But fighting through them, and then all you get is like the same generic loot that you got at the last station is kind of boring. I don't understand. So you play as these specific heroes as well that come with like different skills, Overwatch style.
Yeah.
Like an ultimate and stuff. But an extraction shooter is just so, it doesn't feel like it works with that very well. At least not to me. Like I always forgot I had abilities. And it didn't really affect the outcome of a firefight in any way.
Did you see other people using them?
Yeah. And it's just, maybe they just don't make a big enough difference. Like one of them, I was playing as Glitch a lot, and she, like, her ultimate is just like to move twice as fast for a few seconds. So they're not like substantial game changers, really. Or her like special is to like shoot off a arm cannon, basically. But why wouldn't I just shoot a guy? But anyway, feels nitpicky. The look of it is very good, very striking. The very primary color based thing. But therefore the environments are pretty minimalist. But I think it's a good look. I think the biggest problem I have with Marathon though is that it has the worst menus of any game I've ever played on console. Period.
Oh my goodness.
If you can remember how bad the menus were in Destiny, if you played that at all,
yeah,
it's somehow worse. And especially with an extraction shooter, when you're gathering up this stuff, you looted a box or whatever, and it comes up with an inventory screen, and you have to move this slow cursor over to these tiny boxes and click and see what you need or don't need. And it's just, it doesn't really play to the pace of the game that they're trying to make.
Yeah, I would imagine you don't have a lot of time to react. You want to get in and out as quickly as possible, right?
Right. Yes, definitely. And the gunplay is fast, as well. So like, so it's just definitely a weird feeling, but for some reason, Bungie is dedicated to having the worst UI in the world, and mission accomplished.
Well, hopefully, this being an alpha, they'll actually listen to some people, instead of just keeping doing what they're doing. So I know you're saying you're finding it boring and it's not doing anything spectacular or new and different, but do you think it'll be a hit?
Well, I think the Bungie name is going to carry some weight, but I think the price tag is going to undermine that weight.
Do we know that yet?
We know that it will have a price tag,
right?
That's what I'm saying.
It's not going to be a free to play game.
Yeah, it's just, it does not have anything currently that would hook you to say, "Oh, I gotta recommend this to my friend to convince them to spend $50."
Gotcha.
And I know it's just an alpha, but September 23rd is not that far away.
Could you imagine how brilliant it would be for them to like just switch that at the very end and be like, you know what, free to play? Like everyone's expected to be this, $40 game, $50 game. And then maybe that's like their marketing strategy. Be like, that seems kind of interesting, but if I got to pay for it, oh, it's free now? Okay, I'm in. Has that ever been done before?
It's going to pull a Fortnite.
I guess Fortnite would be the prime example, right?
Yeah.
That worked out pretty well, I hear.
Yeah. So, yeah, maybe. And hopefully it comes together more. I'll say that the setting alone is not exciting to me. I think it's actually kind of a turnoff. Like the idea of being a corporate slave in a video game after I get home from my job of being a corporate slave. It doesn't sound like the most appealing thing in the world as a fantasy to me. But perhaps for others it will be, because it doesn't feel like you're undermining these corporations. It really just feels like you're working for them. So I don't
work for one, undermine another.
That would be a little more interesting. But so far it's just like taking jobs from all of them. But I'm sure that it will evolve. I don't think they have, like, when Destiny came out, it was really half baked, and a lot of people thought it felt somewhat unfinished. But they had the time to put it together because there wasn't anything else like Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
But there are other things like Marathon.
Right.
Yeah.
So they got that going against them.
Yeah, they need to come out swinging, because you need to pull people away from Tarkov and games of that nature,
and
convincing
people to put down that cash.
Yeah,
is going to be a tricky venture. So,
you know what I wish more games did is For Honor, how they had the three sides, and then as a player you choose which side you want to work for. Right. And then you work to build your side. You work against other players to fight their side to build yours. And so if you're working for companies to screw over other companies, let's go. You work for them, I kill you on the spot.
Yeah, that'd be more interesting. I agree. Also, shout out to referencing For Honor in any context.
My bad.
I think it was fun.
That game.
It was fun. I just haven't thought about it in a long time. I think they still put out content every year.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
There's still a couple of things that come out.
That is Marathon. So what's the release date on that? September 23rd.
That's right.
Still don't know the price, what that's going to be, but stay tuned for more, I suppose. All right, before we get on to our topic of the week, got a chance to sit down with Mark and Sean. They got some reviews for you as well. Before we move on, I just want to remind everybody about our social media outlets, facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. Also Discord. There's a link in the show notes of this episode. Drop us a review if you get a chance on whatever platform you are listening to. And also check out our website for any written reviews and news content at thegamingoutsider.com. Before we get to our From the Outside In topic, we're going to take a quick break for this message. Each week during our From the Outside In segment, we discuss a video game related topic and get feedback from our community as well. We posted on social media asking for responses, and this is where we share ours and our community's responses. This week was Zack's suggestion. He wanted to know what games we've more or less ruined for ourselves because we simply play them too much. It might have been a game we adored at launch, but because we put so many hours into it, it's very unlikely that we'll ever revisit it again. So what games fit into the category for you? Zack, this is your topic. Let's start with you. I'm curious.
Well, the first game that came to mind for me is actually Uncharted 3, which is still the best Uncharted game.
Mm-hmm.
But I was in between jobs when Uncharted 3 came out, and I probably played that game like 15 times in a row. And it's, a story-focused linear action game. So it's just like tiny part that's frustrating, like, really stands out to me now. Or there'll be there's some animation snafus that like really annoy the hell out of me that I would have never noticed if I played the game like a normal human being. but like there's one part of the game where you're climbing up some spiral staircase and they just forgot to animate Nate walking upstairs, which he does every other staircase, and it's forever in my memory now.
But he just doesn't animate. His legs just don't move.
He just keeps doing it like a flat ground animation up the stairs.
Oh,
like how it used to be.
Yes, like how it used to be, absolutely, but not how it was on PlayStation 3.
Right.
I don't think I ever realized that. That's interesting.
No, that would be an insane thing to notice, and I'm the only one. But it's in a weird spot because it is still my favorite Uncharted.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like when I think about, oh man, I could really go for replaying the Uncharted series. I'm like, I don't know if I really want to go through 3 again right now, though, as though it was somehow fresh, even though I haven't played it in years. But yeah, that came to mind. The Diablo franchise is over for me because of how much I played as Diablo 2 when I was a kid.
Oh, okay.
And well, for one thing, it's just that you get that initial pull when you're like playing Diablo 3. You're like, this isn't Diablo 2. Like the little ways in which it's different. You're like, I'd rather be playing that. But then actually, I wouldn't really rather be playing that because I played that game to death. I have no interest.
That's interesting because I feel like Jake's mentality with Diablo 4 is, well, it's okay. It's just not Diablo 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So maybe it's just whatever your first Diablo is, or the one you spent the most time on.
Well, I played Diablo 2, and
I'm sure you did. Yeah,
it felt good to go to Diablo 3, and then going to Diablo 4. Just I don't know. I didn't.
No, see, that's how I felt with Diablo 3.
Hmm.
I was digging the story, but I couldn't do it.
That's all good.
Interesting. Got any others?
Well, I was thinking like because multiplayer games gets this way for me a lot, but I feel like that just might be the natural course of a multiplayer game, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like I like Halo Infinite. I played a lot of that when it came out, and now I don't. There's no update that could interest me in coming back because I already played a bunch of it.
Right.
So I think multiplayer games are naturally more sensitive to this, especially in the modern era where whenever I jump back in, I feel like I've missed 1,300 things that happened
Mm-hmm.
because
Yep.
here's 17 battle passes that occurred, and we've added these 14 weapons that you've never seen before, and you're like, I'm good. I'll just go play something else.
That's why I miss Gears 2, man. There wasn't any of that garbage. It was just the game, perfect balancing. Nobody had an advantage.
Except for the host. There was no
Host advantage isn't a thing.
It was not. They were whiners. There was no getting sick of Gears of War multiplayer.
Yeah. We should bring back that, dude. Get you, me, Brian, Aaron.
Nothing stopping us.
You really should. Paul Hine has a comment here. He wanted to chime in. He says, for me, it was World of Warcraft. Gets to that point where it's all about the end game grind, time to be out. I can't speak to that myself. I've avoided World of Warcraft like the plague because I refuse to get sucked into a game that would be my only game.
And you would get sucked in, man. Your checklist mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, it'd be over for you.
It definitely would be. I actually expected a lot of World of Warcraft responses.
Yeah.
Didn't CB say on one episode that he's put something like 4 years of time into World of Warcraft?
That sounds right.
It's just kind of mind blowing for me. But anyway, Jake, what about you, man? What games have you ruined for yourself?
So we're gonna get to Sean Coates' message in a minute, but part of his is any open-ended game, and that is the truth. Any game that has an open end, that's the survival craft, any of that kind of stuff. I put so many hours of unrealized time into these games that at some point I'm just going, well, what do I do now? I've done everything. Like, and when I go back, it's kind of the same way that I feel about Oblivion. I've probably put 1,000 hours into Oblivion.
Oh my
playing
God.
it as a kid, playing later in life, the expansions, all that nonsense.
And you haven't ruined it for yourself? You're still playing the remaster?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's hard for me to go back and go, well, what do I go do? I've experienced anything. Well, what do I want to experience again? What do I want to do this? What do I want to do that? And it's like, there's like this point where it's like, well, back then it was perfect. Like, that was my first experience with it. It was a perfect experience. I always had that memory. And now I don't know what they've done with the character animations with the new people. Oh my God. Some of the models are terrible. They are hard to look at. And going through the game and remembering how this person looked and then seeing them how they look now, like, it's fine. You want to go back and play the remaster versus never playing the old one. That's fine. But like, I have this old memory of like what it used to be when I was a kid. It's hard to look at sometimes, but other than that, most of it's good. But yeah, a lot of the open-ended games like that, Oblivion, Skyrim, Daggerfell, Morrowind, a lot of the survival craft games that I play now, even a lot of the grindy games at the end, the Division 2, me and my wife have put 800 hours individually into the game, and it gets to the point where it's like, well, what is there left to do? Like, how many times can I play this mission again? How many times can I get new items? How many times can I run back to the store to see if they actually have something new for me? Like,
Jake is the only guy I know that complains about a game not having more than 800 hours of content. Me and
But-
Zack are like, man, 12, 14 hours, perfect. Bread and butter, single player experience, move on to the next one. Jake's like, what do you mean?
Well, like when you
I'm
play,
not gonna buy a game that has 500 hours worth of content.
right?
Yeah.
Well, when you have these games like World of Warcraft that come out that they get updated every so often just to keep it fresh, just to keep it new, and like, okay, fine, you can keep playing it and stuff like that. But these games have a life cycle. They start, they're really popular. You're into the main body of its life, and then it dies. Players leave, they stop doing updates, they stop doing things, and like, okay, well, there's nothing left to do. They're not doing any more updates. They're not doing, the things that they said they were going to do. They're not going to sit here and tend to my needs as a gamer on this game that's 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So it's time to move on. But I feel like as I've gotten older, the games that are like that, like I'm still putting in 100, 200, 300 hours, but I'm getting to those end games faster, and I'm reaching that point where I go, well, why am I still playing the game faster? And
so long story short, you don't have any until there's literally nothing left for you to do. Then you just don't have any interest in it.
Well, that's when it gets burned out. But like,
right.
I put the game down and I usually hardly play it again. Unless there's something about the game that like I absolutely want to experience or play, or I feel like doing or whatever, like stationeers. I love building in stationeers. I think the process of all of the calculations and the wiring and all that kind of stuff, I think that is great, even though I feel like I've killed myself on that game and it's very tedious. I love going back and actually building stuff in that game. But like Skyrim, I've tried to go back and play Skyrim now, and I got through it one last time like 7 years ago, and I went, no, I can't play through this game again. I've already put 1,400 hours, 1,400 hours into it. I played through 2 characters, and I knew everything twice. I played through the game twice, and I knew everything, and I knew how to do everything. I experienced everything twice with 2 different characters, and so
that's what I did with Fallout. So
yeah, so
1,400 hours.
Not for 1,400 hours. I think I put a little over 100 hours into that game, which is a lot for me.
Yeah, I will usually squeeze a game dry and then it's done.
Okay. For me, I actually took 2 completely different approaches to you guys, and one is most of the games that I have ruined for myself are mobile games.
By doing dailies.
Yeah, dude. I used to be.
Balatro.
I'm close.
Balatro.
I love Balatro, but once the good stuff stops happening and you're not having anything more to shoot for except for clearing certain levels, levels of difficulty, I've been stuck at the same level for like since I was at your house and I passed that one that I was stuck at for months.
Yep.
It's just becoming a kind of a grind. I still enjoy the gameplay, but I'm just not getting those amazing moments anymore. But ones in the past, Clash Royale, I used to play that regularly. And even had like a guild, you had a guild where you had a group of people and you'd like work together to do stuff.
What's the difference between that and Clash of Clans? Was Clash Royale the one where you would send units over to the other side to destroy their tower? Oh yeah, I like that. I played that game too. That was good.
It was a spin-off of Clash of Clans, which I never played Clash of Clans, but it was more like you'd send out units and they had a certain amount of time it took for them to get there, and you had to defend yourself as well, and it was basically keeping your king alive while killing the other team's king. Really enjoyed it. It was fun, but then it just got. I reached a moment where like, what am I doing? Like, I'm in guilds and I'm like making sure I go in every day to do my dailies and stuff like that.
It becomes tedious.
Yeah. And there was another game, Zack and I were talking before the show. I could not remember the name of this game, but there was a mobile game where I remember you played against somebody. One of you was on the right, one of you was on the left, and there were 3 crystals on either side. One person's were red, one person's were blue, and you had to attack theirs while defending yours. And I think that's the one that I was playing when we were at E3, Zack, the first time that we went together. And I remember waiting for like an Uber or something, and I was like, dude, I gotta do my dailies real quick.
Yeah.
And that was the moment where I was like, you know what? I'm at E3, and I'm worried
Yeah.
about worried about my dailies.
That's true. Yeah, you're having a dream achieved, and you're worried about your dailies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you reminded me of another one that I hadn't thought of in forever, which was Legend of Soulguard. Remember how into that game I was on mobile?
Oh yeah, I feel like that was the next E3.
It probably was. Yeah. That game was really great though. That was like a grid based where you had the different characters and you could match them up to make a bigger. Oh man, it was so much fun.
That was a good game. I like that.
That was a great game.
You got me into that one for a while, for sure.
Did I?
Yeah.
I reached a point where I was like, again, what am I doing? Oh, Candy Crush was the same way. I know Candy Crush
really?
I got into Candy Crush for a while just because I wanted something to play on my phone before I found other things that were better. I mean, the other day, Jake and I were playing racquetball, and he just randomly said tasty, and I went delicious. Like I was like, oh my god, it's still there.
Is this a Candy Crush reference?
That's what like if you get like a really big combo, this male voice in the background will say, sweet, tasty. It's all like candy.
Is it like the Halo narrator who's like kill-tacular, but he says he's like delicious?
Yes, it's very much that. It's very much that. And I got to a point where I was like,
Kilimanjaro,
Zanzibar. So mobile games were the first thing I initially thought of, and the more I thought about it, is there's another way that I've ruined games for myself, and that is my obsession with achievements. There are a lot of games that I have liked so much that I got all the achievements for, and I really have no reason to go back to them again, even though I love the game. You mentioned Fallout, or you were talking about Oblivion, and hearing all that news makes me go, please do the same thing for Fallout 3. If you update Fallout 3, I would be just so freaking happy, not only because I want to update that, but because I have a fresh set of achievements and I feel like I have purpose again. And the more I thought about it, I was like, dude, I just ruined games for me. Achievements have ruined games for me.
Because they don't allow you to just replay them for their own sake.
Yeah. I mean,
he's got to have the checklist.
Well, I mean, I got a checklist built in the game, right? But there's this thing in the back of my mind that says if I'm not working towards something, I'm wasting my time. I know that's not true. We all know that's not true. The enjoyment is part of it, but there's something in my brain that I need to figure out how to switch off that says I can just sit back and enjoy a game and enjoy it for that. There's a lot of games that I've gotten all the achievements for, but I feel like I'm never going to boot them up and play it again because I don't have anything that's going to pop up another achievement and add to my gamer score, which means nothing. Absolutely means nothing.
It means something to you.
It's in your bio.
It is in my bio, and I updated it today. I had to update that.
It means nothing. It means nothing. It's everything.
So my next question is, what is the solution to keep this kind of thing from happening, or is it inevitable? And I'm gonna answer first, just because the achievement thing for me, I got to figure out how to get over that issue. Maybe like if there's a way to turn off achievement notifications in games and just let me, that there is, right? You can turn that off.
Yeah, definitely.
Go back and do it. I don't know. But I just got to get over that somehow. Sean Coates has a comment. He says, what would you do, Scott, if achievements, trophies just went away entirely? I mean, if that happened, it would probably take me a while to notice that, like, hey, I didn't get an achievement popped up, because I still do it, man. I get a new game, and one of the first things I do is like, what can I do to unlock something? What you know what I mean? Maybe that's the answer. Maybe I just need to go play these games again on a different platform. Go play it on PlayStation.
There you go. Yeah, play Fallout 3 on PS3.
Yeah, I could do that. I could do
or
that.
Steam Deck.
No.
Or
a lot of those achievements, so that like once you know how to do them, you can do them easily. Like if you wanted to make it harder on yourself, I think a game with like hidden achievements and like playing through and getting those achievements are
You think
fun.
I'm not going to Google it, dude? Come on.
I mean, they usually all have buttons to allow you to see them in the achievement list, so you don't have to Google them. I'm just saying.
I'm not going to not Google them, man.
I'm just saying though, like you want to talk about Fallout 3, like blowing up Megaton, like that's an achievement. Like, so you're really just gonna play through the game, but you already know how to blow up Megaton. So the first thing you're gonna do is gonna go get that off your checklist, and you're gonna blow up Megaton. You're still running into the same thing where like you're just resetting the trophies.
Dude, you understand? I'm admitting that I have a problem. I know
Well,
this is.
I get that, but I'm just saying that's not solving the problem. You're just enabling yourself.
I know. I got to figure out how to not enable myself, because there's so many good games that I have ruined for myself because I'm never going to go back to them again because I don't have anything to achieve except the experience itself, and I don't know what I got to do to fix in my brain to just enjoy the experience. That's why I started podcasting to begin with, guys, to give something that everybody gave me crap about wasting time, give it purpose. So now I play games, so I have something to talk about with you guys each week. You know what I mean? And so when it comes to something like granted, I did talk about blueprints on the show. I feel obligated. That's not the right word, because I'm enjoying Expedition 33. But I really want to be playing blueprints because
I gotta check something.
Oh, there's achievements in blueprints, but they are stupid hard. And I haven't got a single one.
So you don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just the satisfaction from getting a platinum trophy is just too high.
Yeah.
I get the same feeling from 1,000 achievement points, even though it's not as cool of a.
Yeah.
There's nothing that happens when you get when you get the last 1,000. You don't get like a dun, 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 you got them all like you do with a platinum trophy.
Yeah. See, it's funny because I feel like the platinum trophy is like if the platinum trophy didn't exist, I probably would not care about 100%ing a trophy list. There's something about that extra little gold star, I guess, that just really does it for me.
Platinum.
Yeah, they save a little video of it to your console, so you're like, that was pretty cool.
I was going to say, the only thing I wish that the PlayStation didn't do, because it takes a picture every time you get a trophy. So when you get the final trophy and the platinum, you have two of the same pictures in your trophies.
Well, I was going to say you can turn off the screenshots for a lot of the trophy levels or whatever, but you can't for. Yeah, it'll always take a picture with your video of the platinum, and that is dumb.
Yeah.
Interesting. What about you guys? What's your solution to keep from getting burnt out or ruining games for yourself?
Make 2,000 hours.
Yes, obviously. The real answer is make every game 2,000 hours. And that way when I get to 2,100 hours, I'll complain about how there's nothing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Easy.
Jake's probably one of those guys on Steam that has like, this game is dumb, it's awful. Hours played 947.
Yes, for sure. Well, I think the real thing is just don't replay a game a bunch of times in a row. I used to
save it.
Yeah, I used to do that a lot when I was a kid. Games were a lot shorter then, but I'd be Force Unleashed, the day I got it. So then what I do the next day, I replay the Force Unleashed. But I think doing it like maybe 2 is the limit, but once you're like doing it like 3-5 times in a row, it's inevitable you're going to burn yourself out. So
Sands of Time.
Well, except for Sands of Time, obviously, which is impervious to such complaints. But even Sands of Time is even a good example because I try to skip all the fights.
You just like the puzzles.
Yeah, so I can do the parkouring and the wonderful story. So that's another example, right? Of there's an aspect of it where I'm like, I've had enough of this. Yeah. And so that's probably the real answer is just space it out, savor it, don't replay it right now. Replay it next year. Have something to look forward to.
It's a lot easier to do that now because there's 14 games coming out every week.
Every day, man.
You know what I mean? So it's like there's always something newest, latest, best out there waiting for you.
You're right, for sure.
We're eating so well right now. And back when we were kids, we didn't have as much resources to purchase games, so you're replaying things out of necessity.
Now it almost feels irresponsible to replay a game because you just burned the chance to play something new.
Right. What about you, Jake? Anything to add?
I can go through and play Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped all the way through in one sitting and 100% the entire game because I've played it so many times.
There you go. That's your Sands of Time. Crash Bandicoot 3.
Yeah. So is that game ruined for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. all that ever is left to do is time trials, and it sucks. I hate time trials.
See, another game I burned myself out on was Mirror's Edge, because the campaign's great, but I decided to go in on the time trials and go chase the leaderboards on 360. And there were a couple of them where I was like in the top 20, top 10 of the time trials. But now I don't ever want to play Mirror's Edge again. I love the game, but I'm good.
Yep.
I played way too much, way too stressfully to really enjoy it again.
Yeah. It seems like anytime that there's either large amounts of stress or just way too much going on, once it gets tedious again, then the games start burning out, and then you want to do something else just for fun. Just for fun, you want to go do.
And what was I? What did I prove by being fast in Mirror's Edge? Nothing.
You are fast in Mirror's Edge.
Just as much as I'm proving by getting my gamer score up on Xbox Live.
Yep, roughly the same.
Well, I've got a bunch of platinum trophies, so
platinums are pretty sweet though.
Right.
Come on.
There's something about that 6-digit number that just feels awesome, though.
Imagine the transition day when you go to 7 digits.
Oh man, I remember the day that somebody broke 1 million gamer score on Xbox. It was a big story.
Yeah, it was.
Like it was. I don't remember the dude's name, so clearly that worked out well for him. But yeah, I was like, holy cow! I was still under 100,000 at that point.
Whoa!
It was like, that just seemed like such an astronomical thing to me. So. All right, let's move. I'm sorry,
Scott. You want to knock out Sean Coates' comment right there?
Actually, do me a favor. Go ahead and read it because I got another one I got to pull when I have ready by the time you're done.
All right. Sean Coates writes, the games I tend to burn myself out on are the big open-ended ones like Minecraft and No Man's Sky. I'll sink hundreds of hours into them, building huge projects or exploring everything I can. And then one day I just completely burned out and drop them cold. Sometimes I don't touch them again for years. But what keeps me coming back are the biannual or sometimes triannual cycles of the major updates and overhauls. Minecraft is 15 years old now, and No Man's Sky is almost a decade old, but both still find a way to feel fresh again when I eventually cycle back. Even after completely burning myself out one last time, then I sink more hours into it, burn out again, wait a while, rinse and repeat.
It is unacceptable that No Man's Sky is 10 years old.
I was just going to say the same thing. Like in my mind, Minecraft is older than 15.
Right.
And No Man's Sky is like 5 years ago. Like it's just bizarre to me. That's interesting.
But yeah, I do some of the exact same things. Like I'll play a game. Like I wish some of the games that I played updated, but yeah, I'll go back and go like, oh man, where was I in this game? And I'll play it for a little bit and like, yeah, I remember why I stopped playing.
Right. All right, we got one other comment over on Twitter. Nindy Nation, our good friend Jeff over there says, personally, nothing that I love, but my kids have ruined a few games by never wanting to play anything else. Among Us and Gang Beasts come to mind. Love the games, but loathe asking the kids to play a game with me if they just want to play those again. Interesting.
Yep. All Gang Beasts all the time, huh?
Is Gang Beasts? That's not the one that got taken down or whatever. I'm thinking of what's the one that got removed? That the Smash like game.
Right, Smash like.
Multiverses. Is that the DC one?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. So. I was thinking again that one mixed up.
It's got Batman in it. That was close.
Yeah, for some reason people weren't stoked about Arya Stark fighting Bugs Bunny. Who would have thought?
Right. Right.
I just can't. I gotta find a screenshot of that to see that that's actually like real. But
all
right. Well, that's our topic. Next week it is going to be the first episode of May, so we're going to go to community questions. So please do us a favor, keep an eye on the socials. I will be posting and asking you guys to give us questions, video game related or otherwise. Then we will answer them on the show and have a good time. It's
or otherwise.
Scott, what was it going to be?
Or otherwise, community questions.
No. What was the date going to be?
It's May going 6th? To be the first.
It's going to be May.
Oh my God. I had no idea where you were going with that. So thanks for that.
Well, I hope Kevin gets on getting those signatures and getting Jake fired.
I know, right? He's working on it. But that's going to do it for this week's The Gaming Outsider. Thanks so much for listening. This episode was produced by Kevin Heinigford, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. His website, as always, is stemagemusic.com, STEMAGE music.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsiders.com. Zach, any parting words or recommendations for our listeners before we get out of here?
I actually have two, but I'll keep them brief. First is I rewatched Serenity with my wife because we just got through Firefly and barreled right into Serenity, and that movie owns.
Yeah,
that's a great movie. That is does a wonderful job. If I feel like if you watch Serenity first, you'd still understand the universe and the story.
Okay.
So it does a pretty great job of being accessible for new people, but also just delivering for fans of the show, getting one last ride with the crew and answering major questions from the show, dude. I mean, it's just a wonderful movie.
With that said, the series is a real easy watch.
For sure. 14 episodes.
Season, so.
Yeah. 14 episodes, and they're all good because they didn't have time to make a bad one.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to watch. And then I also watched Sinners over the weekend.
I heard good things about this.
Dude, that movie's awesome. This is the kind of movie that if you were flipping channels and you saw it on TV, you'd be like, yeah, I could watch. I'll finish out a viewing of Sinners. Like, it's just fun. And I was so into it that I almost forgot vampires were going to show up because it was already so engaging before then. Just like
really?
even just like the crime setup is so much fun, of like these two crime twins setting up a juke joint little party, barn or whatever. It's just that all the characters were already so interesting in their dynamics that by the time the vampire showed up, I was like, oh yeah, that's cool, but I kind of didn't need them. But yeah, so highly recommended Sinners. It's awesome. The ending is spectacular, dude. I mean, it's bloody.
Yeah,
it's sexy. It's fun.
Sounds like
big shout out
till dawn.
Sinners. Very much that kind of energy. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say, yeah, for sure.
Is it true that they also have Haints in that game? The enemies from
they mention Haints, yeah,
which is like it's weird. Something I never heard of, and now it's in two properties that are pretty big right now.
Yeah. My wife and I looked at each other since we're playing through South of Midnight together. We were like, oh, Haints. I know what that is now.
Right. Jacob, what about you, sir?
I have this really weird, like, I need to go bowling.
Let's do it.
So
does that count as exercise?
Yes. Go bowling. It's a great game. I love the game. I don't care. Go bowling.
You have the shirt for it.
We do. Yes. We should just go wear our ghost shirt.
I will absolutely wear the ghost shirt while going bowling.
That would be great. I got a movie recommendation as well. I stumbled across this movie. It is on Amazon where I saw it. The movie is called Burn. It is from 2019. This is an interesting movie. It is about a girl that works at a convenience store that is robbed or is attempted to be robbed by Josh Hutcherson from I know him from Hunger Games.
Sure.
But he
was also in The Beekeeper. Okay, thank you.
I don't know The Beekeeper at all, but anyway, this main character is played by this actress I've never heard of before, Tilda Cobham Hervey. It is worth to watch this movie just to see her awkward performance. She plays this girl that is socially awkward and very jealous of her coworker who is very attractive and gets hit on by all the guys all the time. And things go awry in insane ways that I don't want to spoil. And her reaction to everything is bat poop insane. It is. Oh, yeah. It like she just goes off the rails, borderline psychotic, in ways that I just can't wait to see what she's going to do next. And it's a short movie. It's only like 90 minutes. It's worth a watch just to see her performance because I could not keep my eyes off the screen just to see what she's going to do next. It's a weird movie, but worth watching for the performances. So again, the movie is called Burn. And if you watch it, please let me know what you think, because man, it goes some places.
All right, I'm very intrigued.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah. Watch that and tell me her performance is not just. I don't know her I've never seen her in real life to know if that's how she acts, and she's just playing to her, or if she's actually acting. But it was pretty interesting. So, all right, that's it, guys. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Jacob. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Jacob Gunderson, and we are the Gaming Outsider. And remember, there is no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.